you are having different types of motor skills. You are able to maintain your body posture, and you are able to maintain the tone of the muscles, and that is why you are standing in upright position and making different movements. There are 100 and odd, there are more than 100 participants are there, what I feel, and every participant has got a special unique skill. One may be expert in uh, playing a guitar, maybe expert in playing a veena, maybe playing a flute. These are types of skills where the fine movements of the fingers are involved. One may be expert in gymnasticism, or one may be expert in a yoga, a very difficult yogas. These all skills are gained by our brain. There are different parts of a brain, and every part has got a particular function, and every part is involved in the development of a skill, case of a brain. So the cerebellum is the one part of a brain. The Latin name cerebellum is little brain. Comparatively, it is little in size and weight with the cerebrum. It is the largest part of a in brain, and I can say second largest part of the brain as a whole. Basically, as you know, brain is developed from a neural tube, and during developmental process, different dilated segments are going to form in the neural tube. Those are, you know, telencephalon, diencephalon, mesencephalon, metencephalon, malencephalon. These are the different parts made in the neural tube, and out of these different parts of the brains are going to develop. The metencephalon is that which develops pons and cerebellum, and that is why there is a very close relation of a pons and cerebellum. This cerebellum is situated in the posterior cranial fossa, and it is lying just behind the pons and medulla. You can see in this picture, there is a fourth ventricle in between, anteriorly pons and medulla and posteriorly cerebellum. Yes, in this picture clearly you can see, in first picture anteriorly pons and medulla is there, the posteriorly cerebellum, and in between these two parts fourth ventricle is located. Let us discuss the external features. The cerebellum consists of two lateral large hemispheres united in the midline by a worm-like portion called vermis. And this vermis is extended on superior surface up to the inferior surface, and that is why there are two aspects of the vermis is considered. The part of the vermis which is in relation with the superior surface is superior vermis, and the part of the vermis which is related to the inferior surface is inferior vermis. This vermis, superior aspect of the vermis, is continuous with the superior surface, but in the inferior surface, there is in the inferior surface there is a very deep uh, sulcus is there, a deep notch is there. In that deep notch, the inferior aspect of the vermis is located. Even you can see in this picture. In this picture, you can see the inferior aspect of the vermis is deeply situated, and on either side of the vermis there are two sulci. The notch which is there where the inferior aspect of the vermis is situated is called as a vallecula, and those two sulci present on either side of the vermis is called as sulcus valleculae. On either side of the vermis, two sulcus are there, and on a superior surface, actually superior surface looks continuous, but in the midline there is a superior aspect of the vermis is there. There are two notches as I discussed. One is the anterior cerebellar notch and second is the posterior cerebellar notch. In first picture you can see, in first picture, in an anterior cerebellar notch, the medulla is accommodated, and in second picture you are seeing there is a pux cerebelli, which is a fold of a dura mater is extending in the posterior cerebellar notch. You can see in a second pic. Okay. When you see this cerebellum, you will find a fine transverse features. There are multiple transverse features on both superior surface and the inferior surface. And if you see keenly, these features are also running on the superior aspect of the vermis and inferior aspect of the vermis. These fissures are cutting the vermis as well as the surface and the two hemispheres of the cerebellum. But even though there are multiple fissures, mainly for study point of view and a low point of view, we have to consider three fissures. The first fissure is a horizontal fissure, and second fissure is a primary fissure, and third fissure is a posterior lateral fissure. You can see in first pic, this is a first fissura prima, which is the primary. The anterior part of the cerebellum, anterior to this fissure is anterior lobe, and exactly at the junction of superior surface and the inferior surface there is a horizontal fissure, and when we go down in the inferior surface there is a small fissure called as a posterior lateral fissure which separates the oculonodular lobe from the middle lobe. Okay, and when these fissures are going deep, and if we cut the cerebellum and if we see the internal surface looks like a tree of, or different branches are seen, and these different branches are referred by the name arbor vitae because it looks like a tree. A small branching pattern picture is there. This is called as arbor vitae. It looks like a tree. Let us discuss the lobes. There are three main lobes. One is the oculonodular lobe, and second is posterior lobe, and third is anterior lobe. If we come from the anterior to posterior, first anterior lobe will come, second posterior lobe or middle lobe will come, which is the largest lobe, and a small oculonodular lobe is seen in the inferior surface. The same can be seen in this picture. The red colored area is anterior lobe, the green color area is posterior lobe, which is extended even in the inferior surface also, and on inferior surface, two small elongated lobes on either side you are seeing is poikilonodular lobe. The fissure of prima or a primary fissure separates the anterior lobe from the middle lobe or a posterior lobe, and the posterior lateral fissure separates the poikilonodular lobe from the posterior lobe or middle lobe. Actually, there are three main divisions of cerebellum. One is the anatomical division, another is a morphological division, and third is functional division. Okay, let us discuss anatomical division. Please observe this figure very keenly. As I discussed, there is the worm-like structure situated in the midline, and on either side of the vermis, there are two hemispheres. Dr. Joshi, am I audible?
Yeah, sir. Sir.
Is it clear?
Yeah, is it clear, sir? Clear.
Okay, thank you.
Please, sir, you please use the pointer while telling about the structures through computer.
Okay. Uh, Cursor is not seen.
Okay, sir. Now it is being seen.
Cursor is seen or not? ठीक है. Okay. Okay, can I start? May I start? Yes. As I said, I discussed, there are two hemispheres and midline there is a vermis, and because of transverse fissures which are running on the superior surface of the hemisphere, and also these transverse fissures are running on vermis also. And because of this running of the fissures over all the surfaces and the vermis, these parts are cut in different subdivisions or sublobes, I can say. First, we will discuss the subdivision of a vermis. Vermis is divided into different parts. The first part is called as a lingula, then the central lobule, culmen, declive, folium, tuber, pyramid, uvula, and nodule. These are the different parts of a vermis formed by running of these fissures over the vermis. And the same fissures are running over the surface also. Each part of a vermis is corresponding to the lateral part of the hemisphere. Means there is a elongated extension of a part of the surfaces, both superior surface and inferior surface. In this way, the central lobule is corresponding to the ala. The culmen part of the vermis is corresponding to the anterior quadrangular lobule. The declive is corresponded to posterior quadrangular lobule. This is seen on superior surface, and a folium is related to the superior semilunar lobule. It is also seen in a superior surface. When you go down below the horizontal fissure, the tuber is related to the inferior semilunar lobule. The pyramid is related to the biventral lobule. There is a gracile lobule also related to the tuber, and the uvula is related to the tonsil. And the nodule is very closely related to the populace. In this way, the entire cerebellum is divided into different small lobules, and one vermis is also cut. This division has got evolutionary importance and a functional importance. Okay, let us discuss next part. Now, in this picture, you can see there is a lingula, there is a culmen, which is a part of a vermis, and corresponding to the culmen, anterior quadrangular lobule is there. Corresponding to the declive, there is a posterior quadrangular lobule is there. Corresponding to the folium, the superior cellular lobule is there. Okay, in this way, each part of the vermis is corresponding or related to different parts which are laterally extending on the hemispheres. There is a morphological division of a cerebellum. This morphological division has got evolutionary importance. They have made three parts of the cerebellum. One is the paleocerebellum, another is a neocerebellum, and third is the archicerebellum. This archicerebellum has evolved first. Actually, during the evolutionary process or during the embryogenesis, in the animals which are there in sea or amphibians, first archicerebellum is developed, which was a very small part and which was able to control the movements of the trunk. But in later evolutionary process, the paleocerebellum is developed. Paleocerebellum, where this is developed in animals where the limbs are there. In these limbs, are used in making are used in making movements, and even trunk is also used for balancing during the movement. Okay, at that time this paleocerebellum is developed, and recently the new used in making cerebellum part of the cerebellum is developed. As the mammals started moving in a upright position, or they started moving here and there with the forelimbs and hindlimbs. Different skills need to be developed during that moments, and skills have been used, for balancing and different globules. Okay. These part of and these parts of the are all full of pyramid. You pyramid and these archocerebellum, paleocerebellum, and neocerebellum has got a particular connections. The archicerebellum to the vestibule, and that is this is also related to the vestiocerebellar is by their function. Spinocerebellar and neocerebellum will be referred by a corticopontocerebellar, because these are the tracts having a particular function. We will discuss in detail in the next part of my lecture. As we have seen, there is a physical division, anatomical division, and now the cerebellum is divided into functional division also. And recently, the neocerebellum part of the cerebellum is developed. The mammals started moving in a movement that time, cerebellum, which is a recent. Okay, is part of the vermis, and the cerebellum is made up of ocular lobe and the uvula. The paracerebellum is made up of both frontal lobe except uvula because uvula has come in paracerebellum. And pyramidal uvula is also included in the paracerebellum. Both cerebellum lobe except pyramid and uvula because pyramid and uvula is a part of. And these are cerebellum, both cerebellum have got particular connections. The arches cerebellum making movements and even is also parts of the health cares are all very closely related with the arches cerebellum.
Yeah, sorry for interruption. Audio is not coming from Kulkarni sir. Just let us wait. Just let us wait. Audio is not coming from Kulkarni sir.
So written
Video
आ जाएगा. Hello? Hello?
On madam. Sir. Hmm. Sir, sir, audio ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
The Bluetooth
Sir, no,
device
no,
is
it is not
connected
audible, sir.
successfully.
ಸರ್ ಅದು ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬಿಂಗ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೂನಿಯರ್ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಕೊಡ್ರಿ ಸರ್ ಅವ್ನ ಕೈಗೆ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್. ಇವ್ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಯಾರು ನವೋದಯ ಕೈ ಕೊಡ್ರಿ. ಫೋನ್ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದೇನು ವಾಯ್ಸ್
Hello.
ಅದನ್ನು ಬಂದು ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ.
ಸರ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನಿಮ್ದು ಏನೋ ಎಕೋ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದನ್ನು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಸರ್ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ದು?
ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಟೂ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಏನು
ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ಇಯರ್ಫೋನ್. ಹಾಂ ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ನನ್ನ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ನೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಜನ
ಹೇಳು
ಹ್ಞೂ
ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆನ್ ಇಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳು. ಸುಮಂತ
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇವ್ರು ಬರ್ತದೆ.
ಕಂಟಿ ಸರ್ 2 ಸಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನೀವು 2
ಏನ್ರಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ,
ನೀವು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ
ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ
2 ಇಟ್ಟಾಗ ಕಂಟಿ 2 ಇಟ್ಟಾಗ ಹಲೋ ಸರ್. ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಓಕೆ. Dear delegates, technical problem has been solved. Kulkarni sir will join within 2 minutes. ಸರ್ ರೀಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿರಿ. ಓಕೆ ಹಾಂ.
Is it audible, sir? Is it? Is audible? Huh? ये पीपीटी काम हो रहा है ना?
Dear delegates, please rejoin the session. Thank you.
Hello.
హలో సార్. హలో. 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 కుల్కర్ణి సార్. హలో. ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡತ್ತಾರ.
Hello, Joshi.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Joshi,
Yeah.
am I audible now?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir.
Joshi,
Yes, sir.
am I audible now?
Yeah, 100%, sir. Audible. No problem. Continue, please. Yeah.
What about screen? Okay. Hello.
Hello, sir. It is audible.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah. Please, sir. Please.
Okay, I'm getting echo from this side.
Sir, ಎರಡು ಐಡಿ ಅವ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿ ತೆಗೀರಿ ಸರ್. ಅವ್ರು ಎರಡು ಸರ್ ಒಂದ್ ಐಡಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ರಿ ಸರ್, ಒಂದ್ ಐಡಿ ಇರ್ಲಿ.
मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ ये
ಹಾ ಸರ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್. ಹಲೋ ಕುಲಕರ್ಣಿ ಸರ್.
Hello, hello.
ಹಾ ಸರ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸರ್, ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಇದೆ.
Now it's okay.
यस.
मुझे एडमिट करो होस्ट से.
नहीं सर, वो एडमिट किया तो इको होता है, आपका ऑलरेडी एक आईडी है अंदर,
वो हो गई सर, इसलिए ऐसा हो रहा था।
वो दूसरा आईडी अंदर आया तो इको होता है.
इसलिए ऐसे लगे।
अभी एक ही है.
हाँ,
अभी एडमिट करो.
अभी एक ही है.
एडमिट।
अभी एडमिट करो.
हाँ अभी आ अभी आ एक दो है, इसीलिए दो है। इसको नहीं, हमने ये लिखा सर, ये रहने दीजिए, दूसरा जो है ना निकाल दीजिए।
आपके तरफ से निकाल दो जोशी.
सर
हाँ
या
सर.
एक आईडी आपके तरफ से.
हाँ सर, निकाल दिया.
अभी
हाँ सर, क्लियर है सर.
ओके.
पीपीटी पीपीटी.
ये कैमरा डाल दो. Hello,
Hello sir.
am I audible now?
Yes sir, yes sir.
Yes. Sorry for interruption. There was some connection problem in the internet. Now we are connected. And when we are accepting the technology, we have to accept the advantages and disadvantages of technology. Okay. It is not in our hand. It is in the hand of the technology. Okay. Let us start. As I was about the divisions of cerebellum, there was a morphological division, anatomical division, and now I will discuss on functional divisions. They have made 3 zones of cerebellum. This median central zone is called as the vermal zone, and beside to that lateral side there is an intermediate zone or a paravermal zone, and beside to that on most lateral side there is a lateral zone. And in this way, for function purpose, they have done 3 parts or 3 zones of a cerebellum. Let us go to the discussion on internal structure. Dr. Joshi. Hello.
Sir, later, sir.
This specimen is visible. Now I want to show one specimen. Is it visible?
Sir, actually still it is not visible. PPT is visible.
PPT is visible.
Now.
Can you see this specimen?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yes, now it starts. This is the specimen of cerebellum. You are seeing the 2 hemispheres, lateral hemispheres. Okay, and medially there is a vermis you can see. And this vermis, what you are are seeing is the superior aspect of the vermis, and this vermis has gone in the deeper area on the interior surface. Okay, this is the interior aspect of the vermis. Okay, this is a notch, varicula. This is the varicula, a deep notch, and in this deep notch there were two sulcus variculae. On the superior surface, you can see primary fissure, and here is horizontal fissure. You can see this horizontal fissure. Part which is anterior to the fissure of gamma is the anterior lobe. This is the posterior lobe, and here is a oculomodular lobe. You can see this oculomodular lobe, a small lobe, oculomodular lobe. You can see. In this specimen, very clearly, you can see the oculomodular lobe.
Sir, why is not clear?
Is visible.
Yeah.
This is the this is the brain stem. Medulla. This is pons, and this is midbrain. And the pons, medulla are located anteriorly and posteriorly. The cerebellum is located. This is middle cerebellar peduncle, and this is the interior cerebellar peduncle, and here is superior cerebellar peduncle. Superior cerebellar peduncle. These are the main peduncles: superior cerebellar peduncle, middle cerebellar peduncle, and inferior cerebellar peduncle. These are connecting to the cerebellum. Let us go to the internal structure. Let's go to the internal structure. There are two parts: the gray matter and the white matter. The gray matter is forming constituting the cerebellar cortex, and this gray matter of the cerebellar cortex is having three layers. The outer is a molecular
Hello?
layer. Outer is molecular layer. Second is the intermediate.
Sir, audio is not clear. Sir, audio is not clear. ಹಲೋ ಹಾಂ ಸರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್
Clear now?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. Yes, there are when we cut the cerebellum in a white core, in a white matter, four main nuclei are situated. The one nuclei is a dentate nucleus, which is located most laterally in the core part of the cerebellum. Lateral to that, there is an emboliform nucleus. Lateral to emboliform nucleus, the globus nucleus, and lateral to that, the fastigial nucleus. In this way, these four nuclei are arranged in the central core part of the cerebellum. In this pic, you can see the dentate nucleus is a largest nucleus, and beside to that, towards lateral side, towards median aspect or lateral side, a small nuclei are arranged, and these are taking part in forming afferent and efferent connections. Mainly, the basket cell, Purkinje cells, granule cells, and stellate cells are forming the entire network. Even other cells are also there, but these are the main cells forming the different networks. Let us discuss about the white fibers. There are three kinds of fibers present in the central core part, white part. One is the intrinsic fibers, afferent fibers, and efferent fibers. Intrinsic fibers are connecting two parts within the lobe or interlobe. They are present within these two lobes or hemispheres. And afferent fibers, which are bringing information from periphery to the center, that is towards cerebellum. And the efferent fibers are those which are collecting the information from the cerebellum and giving to the periphery in the form of action. And these all fibers are packed in three cord-like structures called as the peduncles. There are three peduncles. One is the inferior cerebellar peduncle, middle cerebellar peduncle, and superior cerebellar peduncle. The inferior cerebellar peduncle is connecting medulla and spinal cord, tracts of the spinal cord to the cerebellum, and it is mainly containing both afferent and efferent fibers, that is inferior cerebellar peduncle. And the middle cerebellar peduncle is connecting pons, and it is containing afferent fibers. And superior cerebellar peduncle is connecting midbrain, and it contains mostly efferent fibers. In this way, the cerebellum is connected to the brainstem in these three, via these three peduncles. And as you know, these three parts of the brainstem are very closely connected to the cerebrum. So the tracts from the cerebrum coming down through these brain stems and through these three parts of the brain stem, they are entering into the cerebellum via these three peduncles. Now you can understand the afferent fibers. From the cerebellar cortex, the fibers are coming to the cerebellum. From spinal cord, the fibers are coming and joining cerebellum. From the vestibular apparatus, fibers are coming, joining cerebellum. From the tectum and a red nucleus, which are the parts of the midbrain, are connecting to the cerebellum. And these all fibers are running through the middle cerebellar peduncle and inferior cerebellar peduncle. Now let us discuss the efferent fibers. Fibers starting from the cerebellum, they are going to red nucleus of the midbrain. They are going to thalamus. The fibers are going to the vestibular complex and going to reticular formation. But these all fibers are going through the superior cerebellar peduncle. These are different tracks you are seeing in this pic. The fibers from the cerebral cortex via thalamus going via midbrain. Actually, these fibers are crossing to the opposite side and going to end into the dentate nucleus, which is the largest nucleus. And even the fibers which are starting from the pons, they are crossing, and on contralateral side the fibers are going from either side. That is forming the middle cerebellar peduncle. And the fibers from the vestibular apparatus, that is vestibulocerebellar fibers, reticulocerebellar fibers, spinocerebellar fibers, oleocerebellar fibers are traversing through the inferior cerebellar peduncle. It means that information from the vestibular complex, information from the reticular formation. Reticular formation is the central area, the special type of zone present in the central part of the brainstem, where the special type of nuclei is present, and the information from the spinal cord is going to the cerebellum. Okay. Now let us discuss the blood supply. Mainly, three arteries are supplying to the cerebellum. One is the superior cerebellar artery, which is a branch of a basilar artery, and anterior inferior cerebellar artery, which is also a branch of a basilar artery, which is supplying to the superior surface of the cerebellum. And one more artery is there, posterior inferior cerebellar artery, which is a branch of a vertebral artery, which is supplying to the inferior surface of the cerebellum. The students, here the basic information about the cerebellum we have completed. We have seen the lobes, the fissures, then the surfaces, the parts of the vermis, part of the lobes traversed by different fissures that we have seen. We discussed about different subdivisions, like an anatomical subdivision of the cerebellum, then the morphological subdivision, the functional subdivision of the cerebellum we have discussed. In anatomical division, three divisions we discussed. In a morphological division, we discussed about cerebellum, neocerebellum, and archiocerebellum. And in a functional subdivision, we discussed about the vermal zone, paravermal zone, and the lateral zone of the cerebellum. And even we discussed the internal structure. Mainly, there are four nuclei present. Okay, they are arranged from medial side to lateral side in a chronological order, and these are connected by different afferent and efferent fibers. Even we have seen three peduncles which are connecting brainstem to the cerebellum, and we discussed about the blood supply of the cerebellum. Now, the main part of the discussion is a clinical aspect or an applied aspect. As in the beginning, I discussed that the cerebellum is involved in maintenance of the posture, maintenance of the tone of the muscle, and also the coordinated movements of the body through the muscles. Here, if the lesions are occurring in a archicerebellum, then different presentation of the clinical symptom is seen. If the lesion is present in the paliocerebellum, different types of signs and symptoms are seen. And if the lesions are present in a neocerebellum, a different kind of signs and symptoms are seen. The lesions may be due to trauma or a vascular occlusion or a tumor. They produces number of signs and symptoms which together constitute the cerebellar syndrome. In one person, when a lesion occurs, a different sets of signs and symptoms may be seen. It is not mandatory to see all the symptoms. Depending upon the involvement of a tract, depending upon the involvement of a nucleus, different signs and symptoms may be seen. The first is truncal ataxia or a staggering gait. In this condition, what happens? A patient is unsteady while standing and is staggering while walking. He walks as if he has drunken and sways from side to side. And for making a balance, he will keep a wide base or wide distance between two legs so that comfortably he can walk. But it is not a normal gait. And even in such lesion, the nystagmus is seen. What is this nystagmus? There is oscillatory movements of the eyeball while looking to the either sides. Okay, so in such condition, when patient comes, by seeing his gait only, you can diagnose that this is a case of a cerebellar syndrome. Now, I will show you a small video. In this video, patient is walking a staggering gait. He is unable to make a balance. Okay, and if you observe his gait, he is trying to keep a long distance between two legs so that he can make a balance comfortably. This type of movement is the staggering gait or unsteady gait. This occurs because of a incoordination in the muscles. Sure. Okay, now I will show you another video which is showing the nystagmus. What is nystagmus? There is a continuous oscillatory movement of the eyeball takes place. You can see doctor is showing his finger and he is asking to follow the movement of the finger, but the eyeball is not steady. In all planes, in a vertical plane, in a horizontal plane, the patient eyeball is not steady. This is called as the oscillatory movement of the eyeball. So this type of presentation is seen okay. If the lesion is present in a paliocerebellum, then a different presentation of the symptom. there is a mainly hypotonia or asthenia of the limbs. This manifests in the form of lack of stability of the joint. It is called as the flail joints, or disturbance of the tendon reflex. For example, if you tap a tendon, it produces the oscillating movements of the leg. The leg swings backward and forward, called as the pendular knee jerk. Have you seen the pendulum of a clock? It moves from side to side. So, in such lesions, there is a disturbance in the tendon reflexes. That is why this type of signs and symptoms are seen. And even there is inability to maintain the balance while walking. This is called as ataxia. Now you can see. In this video, see, when patellar ligament is stroked, there will be a oscillatory movement of the knee joint takes place. This type of signs and symptoms are seen if the lesion is present in the paleo-cerebellum. This beautiful presentation is there in this case. This is a typical case of a cerebellar syndrome. If there is an involvement of a neocerebellum, then there will be a muscular incoordination called as asynergia. This manifests in the form of dysmetria. The word "dys" is used for negative meaning, and metria means patient is unable to measure the distance correctly for reaching an intended target. Clinically, this is tested by a finger nose test. How you will test this? Simply, patient is asked to touch the tip of his nose by his finger, but he is unable to touch the tip of nose. Either he may undershoot or overshoot tip of his nose. He may be unable to take the tip of finger to the targeted or intended destiny. So when patient tries to correct the mistake, he results in to and fro movements. Now you can watch this test through this video. See, doctor is asking to touch his finger to the tip of nose, but see how he is mistaking. His finger is going from either side of the nose. He is shaking his hand. This is the beautiful presentation of a cerebellar syndrome. There are intentional tremors, probably due to dysmetria. If you are asked to make some task, okay, there may be a tremors in the hand, and on rest, when it takes rest, these tremors are going to disappear. The peculiarity of a lesion of a neocerebellum. Now you can see in this heel shin test, patient is asked to rub the heel on the shin part of the leg. He is not able to rub properly. There is an imbalance. Exactly, the heel is not going over the shin part of the leg, tibia. This occurs because of incoordination in the muscles. Adiadochokinesis is another condition. In this condition, if we ask patient to make alternate movements in a rapid succession, for example, if we ask patient to do pronation and supination, in a rapid way, then patient will be unable to do this. There may be some missing of the movements. This occurs because there is no coordination in the muscles. And one more symptom is seen, that is the dysarthria or a scanning speech. In this condition, the speech is slurred and explosive, and there will be a pause. Sometimes he take a very long play. Now you can see this video, this adiabatic. Patient is asked to make a rapid pronation and supination. Now see the movements. There is no rhythm. There is no rhythm. This is called as adiabatic or dysadiabatic. The rebound phenomena is one of the important symptom. Patient is unable to check the action of agonist muscles by the corresponding antagonist muscle. Friends, there are, as you know, there are two sets of the muscles for making any movement. One is the agonist muscle and another is the antagonist muscle. If you want to flex a forearm, okay, there will be a contraction of the biceps muscle, but at the same time there is a relaxation of the triceps muscle, and there is a coordination between these two muscles. Without relaxation of a triceps muscle, the biceps will not flex the forearm. There is a need of a coordination between these agonist and antagonist muscle, but this coordination is missing in a cerebellar syndrome. A simple test can be done. If the patient is asked to push the palm of a doctor by his palm, the force that patient can develop slowly rises. And now, if the doctor suddenly removes his hand, the leg of the patient flies back. It rebounds. It may hit his chest, and he is not able to stop this pushing act immediately. This is called as the rebound phenomenon. And now, a very important part, as we have seen that there is a intentional tremor or lost muscle tone. Okay, even such type of symptoms are also seen in the lesion of basal ganglion, but they are exactly opposite. The lesion of the basal ganglion symptoms, sign symptoms are different, and the lesion in the cerebellum are different. They are opposites. Okay. For example, in a cerebellar dysfunction, there is a decreased muscle tone and intentional tremor. Whereas in a dysfunction of a basal ganglion, there is an increased muscle tone and resting tremors. This is very important to make a differential diagnosis of the lesion. Okay. I hope that you have understood the entire topic. Just before ending my topic, I would like to summarize, and I will give you a very good tips. This is called as rule of 3. Rule of 3. What is this rule of 3? With reference to cerebellum, there are 3 subdivisions: left hemisphere, vermis, and right hemisphere. Just I am summarizing. Okay. There are 3 fissures: posterior lateral fissure, primary fissure, horizontal fissure. There are 3 lobes: anterior lobe, posterior lobe, flocculonodular lobe. There are 3 developmental aspects: archicerebellum, paliocerebellum, and neocerebellum. There are 3 connections: vestibular connection, spinal cord connection, cerebellar cortex connection. There are 3 functions: body equilibrium, muscle tone, and fine coordination of voluntary movements. There are 3 longitudinal subdivisions: vermal division, paravermal division, and lateral division. These are functional divisions. Then in a core subdivisions, cerebellar cortex, cerebellar white matter, deep cerebellar nuclei. If you take cortex, cerebellar cortex, once again there are three layers: the molecular layer, the Purkinje cell layer, and a granular layer. If you take the cerebellar glomeruli, the axon of mossy fibers, there are different kinds of fibers: dendrites of the granule cells and axon and dendrites of the Golgi cells. If we take the white matter, it is made up of three kind of fibers: the commissural fibers, the association fibers, and the projection fibers. If we take the connections once again, there are three cerebellar peduncles. One is the superior cerebellar peduncle connecting midbrain to the cerebellum, the middle cerebellar peduncle connecting pons to the cerebellum, and inferior cerebellar peduncle is connecting medulla to the cerebellum. Okay, three parts of the brainstem are connected: midbrain, pons, medulla. There are three, we can pronounce names of nuclei. The main dentate nuclei, emboliform and globus, has brought under one unit, and a fastigial is a third. And there are three arteries: posterior inferior cerebellar artery, anterior inferior cerebellar artery, and superior cerebellar artery. So this is a very important chart, I can say. If student is able to remember these 15 points, easily he can remember the entire structure of the cerebellum. Thank you very much. I'm thankful to Dr. Joshi sir and Dr. Jamgi sir for giving me an opportunity to interact with the students. If you have any doubts,
Sir, good evening, sir. Good afternoon, sir. So, it was a very nice presentation, and we have seen the.
If anyone is having doubts, they can discuss.
is having doubts, they can discuss.
Yeah. Please, anybody is having the doubts, please, you can ask the questions very freely. Okay. Respected Kanti sir, respected Kulkarni sir, Dr. Munidhar Badgir, Dr. Gurraj Jagirdar sir, Dr. Nitin sir, right? So we will close this session. With the end of this session, we will have the food and we'll rejoin back at 2 o'clock. Anyhow, the presentation was very nice by BJ Kulkarni sir. It was the most practical oriented, and also by showing the models, you have shown interest and you made us easy. So that type of the innovative skills we want for all our junior teachers. So we are very thankful to you for taking the effort, for making the efforts in reaching everyone. And dear delegates, because of the interruption of the internet in the middle, we had some problems, but that was a technical problem, right? So as we know that today we are having the valedictory function. All after the afternoon session, the valedictory function will be continued. So all I request to rejoin for afternoon session after the food, and we will have the ending of the program by evening. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, sir. हेलो
कंटी सर
हेलो
हाँ सर कंटी सर नमस्कार सर
नमस्ते नमस्ते
कंटी सर इज ऑनलाइन ना
yeah Kanti sir is there as a Dhanvantari since from our beginning of webinar sir. Kulkarni sir you
ಸರ್
can
ಕಂಟಿ ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ
या
ಸರ್ ಗುರುಗಳಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ
नमस्ते
ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ
नमस्ते नमस्ते आई अटेंडेड योर सेमिनार
ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಸರ್ ಹೌ ವಾಸ್ ದಿ ಫೀಡ್ಬ್ಯಾಕ್
धन्वंतरी आशीर्वाद
ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಧನ್ವಂತರಿ ಸರ್
नेटवर्क डिस्टर्बेंस इंದ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಯ್ತು that is fine
sir sir I welcome you sir for panel discussion. You please be present and clarify the questions and doubts and inspire us for the further sir.
definitely
Yeah please sir.
definitely what is the time
Sir 3:30 sir.
time up
3:30 sir. Yesterday we tried to contact but it was old number so I could not contact you sir. Yes sir.
so
ಕಂಟಿ ಸರ್
number
ಸರ್
I will be at 3:30
Yeah sir please sir. हाँ sir. Hello Kulkarni sir.
ಜೋಶ್ ಅವ್ರ ಕಂಟಿ ಸರ್ ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್ ಆದ್ರ
Yeah please talk sir please talk.
ಕಂಟಿ ಸರ್ ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್
Online.
ಸರ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ
ಯಾವುದು
ಸರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಸರ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಹಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಓಕೆ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ he is offline. Hello.
network service problem
Okay. Connectivity problem. ठीक है
problem connectivity problem
हाँ
yeah ಪ್ಯಾನಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ 3:30ಗೆ
Yes sir. Thank you sir.
okay okay
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು
recorded
गुड बाय
आपल्या
End.